All right, so guys, welcome back to the second episode of the show. We did the first one, a little bit before Ascension. We had, obviously, George, who we went through last time, founded Subversion, matchmaker. I do all the content, I do all these production side of things, and we had our special guest, Mark. I guess you're co-host now, right? You've been 2 and 2.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
You could say co-host.
You happy with that, George?
I'm not going to argue with Mark, mate.
Yeah, mate, I wouldn't either. Like we said, George, last time we did this podcast, we didn't actually take the time to thank our sponsors, which Matt DeGroot normally does at the start of every show. But we'll just do a quick run through of the guys that supported us for our last one, because, like I said, with Matty DeGroot, he gets up on stage and says, you know, without these sponsors, we don't have the show. You know, we can't do what we can do. So a big thanks to a company that's been with us for probably the longest of anyone would be Zebra. Josh Street looks after us. We've got our mat surface from him for our main fight area. He also supplies the mats for the back area, the warm-up mats for the guys. He's really good. So if you guys ever need any advice or any prices or anything fitting out gyms or home gyms or even streetwear and training gear, get in touch with Zebra. We've got loan options, which is Julian. How do you say his last name, George? Is it Fayed?
Yeah.
Fayed. He's been with us all this year. He's got a website where they do, you type in what loans you're looking for and they find the best options for you. He's been super supportive of us all year. He hands out the takedown of the night, submission of the night bonuses at the end of every show. He buys a heap of tickets. Him and all his mates come down. He is a legend. We have DigiGround, which is John Lur from, is he my BJJ Camperdown?
Yeah.
He's been in the scene for a long time. His son used to compete for us in the qualifiers a lot. His son used to compete at OzHub.
He was on one of the shows as well, Jordan.
Jordan was on
Had a match
Revolution.
against Matt Clark.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was it.
Yeah, he's sponsored us through DigiGround, which is an IT company. They're in North Sydney. And then he loved us so much that he also supported us under Smart B, which is I guess you'd call it like an aggregate betting site. So you log on and it tells you the best odds between PointsBet and Tab and things like that. So you can find your best odds for sports around the world.
And then he also does a little podcast as well.
He does too, the Smart B podcast.
Gives us a lot of shout outs on there.
There's a lot of content that he puts out with Subversion, and he breaks things down, and he's a massive supporter of us.
How far away from putting Subversion matches on Smart B are we?
Funny you said that, because when he first reached out about it, I said, how do you get betting? And he said, let me get back to you. I haven't heard back from him, but I know he's pretty switched on. I think he's probably working on something before he comes to us. But Humble Fightwear, they signed on this year for our last show, and that was awesome having them down. They come from Perth, right?
Yeah. Luke from Perth, yeah.
Yeah, and his missus, they came over. They attended the weigh-ins. They were backstage at the show. They were doing interviews with everyone, like for all of weigh-ins, all of the show.
Sponsored bunch of guys as well.
Yeah. They had Tito, they had Bob, they had Jacinta. I think they worked with Jaden,
Mark Scott. Yeah, they had a few guys.
Yeah, 5 guys. Yeah, they're really, really good guys. Hopefully we can work something out with them to do some long-term work with those guys, because the content they put out was great. They had Danny Dynamite doing content for them. Yeah,
and then the video they put up as well was good. That was running during the
Jacinta video.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was great. Some of the effects in there, I might have to steal some of those.
Yeah.
So then our other sponsor we've had for the last 2 shows was Academy 411. Raf Barty, Chris Collis, Nick Bilton. I think they all have some kind of partnership in the gym. Great guys. They always let us use their facility. We've done qualifiers there. We've done weigh-ins there. Super nice guys. Super good gym. Love the aircon there. Got to a point last time where it was bloody freezing cold, which I'd much prefer them right now. I'm sweating. But, so thanks to Academy 411.
Nick Bilton got a nice heel hook on the night too.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also had our most recent sponsor was Alta, who you guys might know as the old Wimp to Warrior. Do you remember Wimp to Warrior?
Yeah, they just brought out Ben Askren for a seminar.
They did too. So Wimp to Warrior, for guys who aren't sure, was like you would start off with no MMA experience whatsoever. You'd go to a 20-week program, 5 days a week, and at the end of it, you'd jump in a cage against someone of that same caliber, so someone who had been through that 20-week program and, 20 weeks to become an MMA fighter, basically. So they've rebranded as Alta, and they now have a video platform, which is, they've got seminars, they've got tutorials, they've got so much content on there, it's ridiculous. So they're not just that 20-week program anymore. But yeah, so I've been working with them guys a lot, and to have them on board is great too. So
I think they just got Brian Ebersole in the books as well.
Brian Ebersole, Richie Walsh, UFC vet, Sonny Brown's involved with them. They've got some great talent from Australia and with Ebersole from the US. Daniel Cormier does a lot of techniques for them. I think Laura Sanko is involved from the UFC. They got a lot of.
It was pretty cool. They brought down that Street Fighter machine.
They did. Ebersole brought down a Street Fighter 2 arcade machine, and they were challenging fans as they walked in. And did you see any of that?
I didn't see that.
I had a game with Josh O'Sullivan.
Oh yeah, who won?
I beat him. Yeah.
Who was your person of choice?
Oh, was I?
I reckon you'd be a Ken.
I think I was Ken,
Yeah,
and
he looks a bit like Ken.
and he was the what was the
Ryu.
military? Yeah, I think it was just Ken,
Oh,
Ken,
military.
right?
Military.
Yeah, I think I was trying to find
Guile.
Guile. Is it
Guile,
Guile?
yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't have him.
He used to have a great stage. Remember, he used to be in like the airport, like with
Yeah,
the big. Do you know what we're talking about, Mark? You've never played video games, obviously.
NBA Hoops on PlayStation 2. That was
Okay.
about the extent of mine.
And what was the green creature one?
Blanca.
Blanca. That was it.
And he used to electrify himself.
Yeah, that was it, yeah. He wasn't on there. I was trying to find him, but
It was Street Fighter 2. Maybe it
Was
wasn't officially licensed. Maybe it was like a dodgy little.
oh no, I think
Or
I
did
don't
you
know
have to
what number. I
unlock
don't know
them?
what number it was.
No, it was
but-
2. Brian
Was it?
sent it to me. It was Street Fighter 2.
But they had a bunch of other games on there as well. They had,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it wasn't just Street Fighter. You could select all these different games.
Yeah.
Pretty
Right.
cool.
You need Ethan Thomas here for this sort of discussion.
Yeah.
He
Maybe.
did, in Singapore, he didn't leave his room. Just played video games the whole time.
So what? He took a PlayStation with him or something.
I don't know what happened in that room, but he didn't leave.
Well, it worked, didn't
Just
it?
played games and then just bashed everybody at trials.
Wow.
Well, he took a PlayStation with him.
I don't know how he's done it. You have to
took
ask
it-
him.
Was he on a
No, he must have brought
gaming
something over
laptop
there with
or
him.
something? Yeah.
Because when I went to the hotel to try and say g'day, he didn't leave his room. He just stayed up there playing some game. I don't know what it is, but that was his idea of ideal preparation, and clearly
Yeah.
it works.
Good on him. Yeah, maybe we should get him in and we can just do a podcast on gaming.
He'll probably talk about how last trials he just got given a lineup of killers, and then the same things happened again, but this time.
But this time he had the edge because of the dexterity from the joysticks.
I think I heard he's like a World of Warcraft sort of a guy.
He's a hardcore gamer. Yeah, when he hasn't got his tinfoil hat on, he's gaming.
Hey, we all wear our tinfoil hats from time to time. We also had Sam from eBits. He sponsored us. He's the same as John. We actually got in touch with him through John. John recommended us. He runs a IT company as well, like securing servers and security for networks and things like that for venues. So that's good to have him on board. Endless. Lance helps us out with a few things on the night. So, yeah, it's, like I said, good to have all these sponsors on board. They support us. They help us keep these shows going. So, yeah, but as we say on the night, if you can support these sponsors that support us, that would be very helpful. Now, boys, we've got, like I said, we've got George and we've got Mark. We're going to do a breakdown of the event that was Ascension. Mark, as we said, was head judge, as always. Who'd you have this time, Mark? You had yourself.
Yeah, we had a really good contingent. Winston was refereeing with Kane Wilkin. Both did a really good job. Matt Diaz from Legacy was also assisting us to judge on the far side, and Matt Lynch from Ronin Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep. That was Lynchy. You wanted to get Lynchy on board. You thought he'd be good with the no-gi aspect.
Yeah, I've trained with him for nearly 10 years. Like, I've known him for a long time. He's very thorough, to the point where it's annoying sometimes to have conversations with him, the amount of detail he goes into. But in a judging setting, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Him and Matt did a really good job over the far side, as did Winston and Kane on our side.
Yeah.
They were really switched on. Like we talked about, most of the decisions were quite clear. We did have some really close matches, and there were some 3-2 decisions in there, but that was reflective of the matches as opposed to inconsistencies with the judging.
Like those two guys, every time I'd go past that table, their eyes were just locked on. They were just in the zone, and it looked like they're having fun too. So
Yeah, they were switched on the whole time, which was good.
Mm.
And there was occasions there where they did need a little bit more time to really think about, how they're going to make their decision, which was good. It reminded me of, we talked about Ricky Pichon before. He was actually quite cerebral when he was making his decisions, which was surprising at the time for me, but now I know, like, Ricky is pretty switched on.
But that's what we want, right? We don't want people that are just half-assing it and scrolling on Insta and not naming any names.
Looking at chicks on Insta.
Not something George would do.
So you were talking about controversial decisions. Did we have any? We obviously had the heavyweight title was our main event. We had Bob and Suppo. Not a huge amount of action from either guy.
Yeah, that was all five judges scored it for Suppo. A tough one to judge in that nothing really happened. You got two of the best grapplers in the country. No one's going to argue with that. And they had what was essentially a really poor wrestling match. We did talk about it at the rules meeting. Neither of those fellas were there at the rules meeting. Understandable, they were on late. But get to the rules meeting, understand the criteria. It's not IBJJF judging. It's not ADCC judging. This is a bespoke judging criteria. Literally aimed at entertaining matches. Like, we're trying to encourage competitors to go out there and put on a show. When you go back through the criteria, really wasn't a lot that happened. It was just that Suppo did that little bit more. It highlights to other competitors too the importance of don't just be setting up wrestling, like don't be slapping legs or collar tying and little gentle snaps. You want to actually generate a reaction. Bob got deep on a single but then disengaged straight off it. If you get deep on a single, take the person down, demonstrate that you could have taken them down. Don't just try and game the scoring. Similar situation, if you're snapping someone and getting a reaction, we'll snap them down and put them in front headlock.
We've got a bit of it up on the screen here now from Flo. Yeah, you can see what I noticed a lot. It's hard for me as well because I'm filming. I can't really. There's nothing I can do with like you guys and keep the amount of detail that you guys see. But from what I could see, Suppo was pushing forward the whole time. Was that a big part of what you saw, or what? Like, talk us through what else you saw that really put Suppo over Bob in the end?
Well, firstly, they're both very strategic. They both switched on. They know what they're doing. This is a main event. They both want to win. They're both winners. Very rarely do either of these guys lose in competition. For that reason, they're very low risk, very cautious in what they're doing. Real feeling out period. Not a lot happened in that first 5 minutes. Neither of them will disagree with that.
Yeah, and both guys backing up from the previous week. ADCC, fly-in, all that sort of jazz. So
Suppo apparently was very sick. Luke said that if it was any other guy, he would have pulled him out.
I believe his whoop recovery was 1% a couple of days before, and on the day it was 14%. So he's clearly...
Is that good or bad?
That's really bad.
Yeah, okay.
You'd take that day off training.
Yeah, right.
If you've got a 1%, it's pretty much telling you you're dying.
Yeah, right.
So props to both guys for making
Backing
it
up, yeah.
the week after a tough ADCC trial.
That's a good example there.
He shot in for
Bob's shooting in, but there's nothing there. It didn't. If it was close, Suppo would have sprawled. He hasn't sprawled there. To me, it's good that he's engaging and looking to complete a takedown. Maybe really want to see a takedown.
Yep. So obviously that was the main event. What else did we say? We had, Mark, we had Jun and Tony. That was another, not necessarily controversial, but you said that was a split decision.
To be honest, Taylor was helping Matt DeGroot on the night. That was one of her favourite matches.
Jun and Tony?
Yeah,
right.
That Blue Belt gi match was so entertaining.
That was the second match of the night, I believe. That was the qualifier finals. We had Jun coming back in from the qualifiers. He won his way through the last qualifiers, I believe, and got tapped by Axel Howie. Then he made his way through the gi this time. I think was he the one that did a dodgy, George, and signed up for like both gi and no gi or something in the qualifiers, and you missed it and didn't pull him out?
Yeah, I missed that one. But I noticed on that day, qualifiers, I was like, Jun has really improved a lot. Like, he's doing really well. So
he was chasing the subs a lot at the qualifiers too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This was a 3-2. And that was just how close the match was. Both these guys were getting after. It was actually impressive to see how talented modern day blue belts are.
Did you see when you say it's 3-2, Mark? Was it necessarily the two guys on the other side that were together? Did they have split decisions? Do you remember much of that? I don't know if you've got that in detail, but I'm just curious. Is it a where they're sitting kind of thing, or is it a?
We need more results to verify that. But no, there were instances where it was
where, like, say,
it
Matt,
was a 3-2 and it was
and
the two on the far side, but then there was another match where it was no link there.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. I'm just curious as to how that would work out.
We generally aren't when we're watching the match live and judging. There isn't any discussion.
Yeah, well, that's good.
With us,
we're
making that decision ourselves, or particularly. At the end, when I'm sitting next to Kane Wilkin, for example, we're not talking at all. Not that we don't like each other. Yeah. It's just we're switched on. We're watching what's happening.
I think that's how it should be.
And then when it finishes, it's like, all right, what's your verdict? I found it this way. Often it's the same. If there's a bit of variation, then we might have a quick discussion around, why, and then I'll go around and check it off the other pair.
No, I think you guys did a great job. Mark, you're a legend. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for doing what you do on the night. I'm happy with how everything turned out, decision wise. Like,
I thought this was one of the better nights. It was just there were so many close matches. Like this is a good example. Yeah. This could have gone either way. I think these fellas trained together too a little bit.
Yeah, right. So
I've never heard of this guy previous to the qualifiers.
Tony, you're talking about Tony from Gracie Baja.
And he goes good.
But like we said, when Matt de Groot comes up there and he announced the winner for the main event with Bob and Suppo, he said it was a razor close decision because, like you said, there wasn't much in it to choose from or to judge on. But I think Suppo deserves to take the win. But
he just did enough. I would like to see more from both.
Yeah.
Like I've competed against both those guys. I know how good they are. I would love to see them open up a little bit more.
But I guess when they're opening up, they're
exposing themselves to risk, and you know what I mean. But I'd love to see them train together. I'd love to see what that actually looks like when there's no pressure. It's just them opening up. Because Bob had a fantastic run at ADCC. He's just unfortunate to run into Isaac at the back end. His strategy for that day was perfect to precision. Virtually did just enough in some matches to get the decision and went through that whole bracket. Suppo ran through that bracket over there. There's a little bit of a skill discrepancy. He may get challenged though in the future. There's like Tito did a good job putting on the match of the tournament. It's good that you need someone to challenge you and come head on.
I only watched that match, and I thought that might have been the little edge that Tito had, because everyone goes into a match with Suppo and they're already almost thinking they're going to lose. Tito went in there, I'm going to win this, I'm going to give it to you. I thought that might have been the difference, to be honest, but obviously the skill of Suppo was just better on the day.
I'd love to know how much Tito is actually training. I hear varied reports. Some people say he's training a lot. Some people say he's not training. I'd love to see him take out that I haven't trained excuse. Give me 6 months of solid training. I'm not saying he's going to beat Suppo. They've had multiple matches before.
They had a great match at the ADCC. If he puts in 6 months of hard training, who knows what can.
Yeah, he's got so much potential.
He's pretty keen. He's saying he's going to make the second trial. He's going to be there and he's going to take it out. So
I think he will.
Yeah.
If he trains, it's summer's coming up. It's going to be hot in those. Grappling Head doesn't have an aircon.
Why?
Or maybe they do. No, they do.
Oh, they do.
They do. I don't know if he's going to want to put that work in over the period. The beach and spearfishing's probably more appealing. It'll be up to him to decide what he wants to do.
They also had. I saw Jacob Kachanak, the Slovakian wrestler, who's back in town. He came to Subversion with Isaac. He's back coaching at GE. And I saw some shots of him coaching Tito, so that'll be interesting to see because Tito's already got some strong wrestling, but with Jacob, coaching him, that could be.
He's like counter wrestling and the judo that he uses. I think he's like when he had that match with Duke, he virtually nearly put him through the mat at Subversion. Like that was awesome.
That hip throw, what was it? I don't know what the proper judo name is, but
I was reffing that match.
Uchimata is the only thing I know from judo.
I was worried he's going to put him off the stage, but it was like precision, and then he heel hooked him pretty quick after that.
So close.
And Tito's had matches with Declan Moody before, and that was also on Subversion.
Yeah. Tito won that by Keza crush, I believe. Yeah. If you haven't trained with Tito and been put in that Keza Gatami, if you get thrown in there in competition under pressure, it's pretty hard to find a way out.
Oil check is the most effective way to get out of there. But
well, speaking of oil checks, the man you were just talking about before, Brian Ebersol, he's doing a seminar coming up, and I believe that is exclusively oil checks.
yeah, he
all different positions.
He definitely introduced me to that technique. It is in American wrestling, they'll often just grip in that region and not think twice about it. And until you've trained with someone like that, it's a bit confronting. I think we've talked about it before, but Nathan Molina, if you grip him anywhere near there, he just goes like a salmon and just goes flat. Conversely, you do that to Curtis and he doesn't blink. So there's like a real variation of how people will respond. But with a live stream,
some will let out a little.
Yeah, some people like it, others are terrified of it. But if there's a stream like that match I had with Tito in Singapore, I would have liked to have oil checked him. If it was training, I would have. But on a stream, I couldn't.
Controversial decisions we're still going with. Well, not controversial, but like I said, the split decisions. We had Sergio Fernandez and Grant Barlow in the gi, 2 big black belts. What was your thought process behind that?
Yeah, again, 2 experienced black belts, very strategic. In that sort of time frame, maybe they need a little bit longer to, there's a reason black belt gi matches are 10 minutes traditionally. We can't have that happen on Subversion. It's just too pressed for time. But that was a 3-2 as well. It was pretty close.
With that time limit, George and I were just talking, and we were like, we don't want the night to drag on. So we just made the call to do. What did we do, George? We did 6 minutes for qualifiers and prelims, I believe. Main card 7 minutes, and then the final was 15. Yeah. So we just tried to. We thought making it shorter might make the guys go for it more for the early fights, and
normally co-main event is normally going to be 10. Yeah, but I just thought
with the change up.
I thought with Harry and Tito with 10 minutes, they might try and play it a bit safe. Might not too much might not happen. So bring the time down and make them push a bit more. So
it's probably also the fact that both of them, and
they fought a bunch of times.
Yeah, exactly. But coming off, they were on at 48 hours notice.
Yeah.
To just say.
But Tito was always hassling me. Like he was like, "Give me a match."
To be honest, the first time they had the match on Subversion, I think was it a 15-minute match and not a lot happened. Whereas this time with that shorter time frame,
I think they did 10 last time.
10. Yeah, I think they might have paced themselves.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was right. They paced themselves too much, but.
Yeah, they ripped. Actually, this was a really good match in terms of wrestling.
We've just got the stream running in the background here, guys. We're at Melly Haktan and Sonny's guy from Apex. It's not Charlie Akin. It is, I think they call him Bobo. Ronan Martin, I think it is.
Yeah,
Ronan. Awesome display of wrestling from both of them, but that suplex by Melee was ridiculous.
Melee's got some solid wrestling. He remember that match he had at the qualifiers?
The one just gone
with the bloke from Triple X Academy.
Triple X, no. The one the qualifiers just gone, or the one?
Yeah, just
at 411.
Yeah,
no.
Remember he had that real tough wrestling match with that bloke.
Again, I'm streaming and I don't get to.
I think the guy broke his nose.
Yeah, right.
I remember the boys were saying there was a heap of blood in the toilet after, like in the bowl, and then the guy was like, I think he broke his nose.
You'll have to start getting those face guards sold through Southern Apparel.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen it, Georgie has had his nose surgery, and what doctors say? How long recovery?
They said fully heal up. It's about 3 months. It's been 6 weeks. I just started to roll back, and I'm got my Jason mask on.
Yeah, so
just to protect myself. I don't want to cop any knocks.
If you haven't seen it, George is wearing is it an NFL mask? What do you call it?
It's just I just literally just got it on Amazon. Yeah,
I've seen NBA players have used it pretty regularly after a nose break.
I've seen Cody Rhodes, I think it is, a WWE guy, wearing it. Yeah, well, so we know that the WWE references and the video game references are lost on you.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Last controversial, split decision was Jess. Jess, do you say NG or is it Jess Ng? Jess Ng and Michelle Salva. They were again in the gi.
That was a 3-2.
Yep.
Again, they sort of got stuck in that lockdown position, and I can understand Jess using it initially for guard retention. That's reasonable. I would have liked to see a little bit, try and use it to sweep as well, or open up a little bit from that point. But we just spent a little bit too long in that match in that position.
Yeah.
and Michelle, was attempting to pass, throwing in some Ezekiel attempts there as well. That was favourable, in my opinion. It was still a 3-2, though. A very close match. Back and forth match as well. And one of those ones where, in the end, it could have gone either way. That was just how I seen it.
Yeah.
While we're talking about Michelle, she actually threw me a little bit in the rules meeting in terms of smothering and what's allowed and what's permitted.
Okay.
So I might just touch on that now.
Yeah.
Now that she hasn't got me flustered.
Yeah. What is the rule with smothers?
So, if you want to smother someone with your chest, so you can do that in any rule set.
Which is that technically the mother's milk?
Yeah. So Mark McKay is the creator of the mother's milk submission, and it's been popularised by Tito Carl, who has done it to pretty much everybody. If you're a man with assets of that nature, you can get in the Kesagatami position and smother them with your chest. That's fine. Michelle,
is that takedown?
It's also boom. It's also possible for females as well if they want to pull them up into their chest. That's fine as well. You can
so
smother
from
them.
mount.
From mount
from
or the Kesagatami or any position. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can definitely use that. We'll use it from mount where you look to threaten a smother to set up a Kesagatami. What you cannot do is use your hand to smother in IBJJF. And because we're following IBJJF rules with a bespoke rule set, we can't allow the smother either. They're reviewing the combat sports legislation at the moment. If they included ADCC rules in that, then there's the opportunity to look at that in the future. But as it stands, you cannot put your hand over their mouth. Thiago raised a good point. Like, you don't want to be poking people in the eyes either. We want to factor that in. Don't be putting hands in the face. But on Subversion, you cannot put your hand over their mouth and give them a smother if you're on their back. Remember, Isaac famously did
Isaac tried to do it to Bob, and then Bob halfway through the match was yelling at the referees, "This is illegal."
Yeah, Bob knows the rules better than anyone. But at that point,
you weren't involved at that time, I don't think.
No, smothers had just sort of become
we had
topical.
Kevin Ryman doing that match as well.
the great Kevin.
He always gets a shout out, the old Kev, doesn't he?
But just to clarify for competitors, you cannot, on Subversion, put your hand over their mouth to smother them. I encourage this behaviour in training, and it's definitely legal in ADCC, but you can't do it on Subversion.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good to know.
You'll see people tap out to it as well, like Big Dan in one of his matches. Actually,
Big Dan, man-child.
The Romanian fellow that trains for...
Monosoyu?
Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name, but one of Danaher's biggest guys. He's tapping out world-class black belts with a smother. You shouldn't tap to that ideally. It happens. Like, there's people out there with good smothers. We talked about it before. But most people now are figuring out how to defend that. It is setting up other things, like a Kesagatami as an example.
He's like 140, isn't he? Apparently.
I'm not sure. I think he might be a similar size to... he might be up around 120, but if he's 140, that's it.
I heard he was like 140. Even bigger.
That's horrible, yeah.
I actually just did a DVD series with... Do you guys know Liam Reznikov? Him and his brother own VT1.
Yeah.
Which is just smothers, like your mother's milks, like dirty... I say dirty, but like, that horrible pressure... I think he calls it the lung ride system. So it's just like his chest on your chest, opposing forces, and it's brutal. Like,
so what? He just releases that to his own students.
So he's left VT1. So I think they've sold, and so now they're doing their own thing. I think he's going to go travel in Vietnam for a bit, but he still wants to keep relevant in BJJ world.
Well, they sold the gym.
They no longer own VT1. So he's putting out a BJJ Fanatics where it's...
So who coaches that?
I think so. They've got all their old coaches still there.
Okay.
So
right.
Yeah. So that's a good system. If anyone's keen to learn more about the details of that, like it's brutal. We had to have two ukes that would alternate because it was like the guys were in pain after every technique.
Is he giving Tito any royalties?
No, well, not that I know of. I can ask.
The only other thing off the qualifier finals, Cash Douglas.
Yeah.
Like, having him on Subversion is always entertaining. Like, literally one of my favourite people to watch.
He's always exciting.
I hadn't seen his opponent before. He's from 411.
Tam Tokhan, his name was.
Yeah, he was game. He turned up ready to go.
This is what I was going to say when we were talking about smothers and the legalities of it. What I was going to say is Tam Tokhan, he was under 411 for this one, but apparently he wasn't from 411. Like he cross trains there.
I heard that as well.
But in the qualifiers, he got a pretty good bite on a straight foot. But what's the legalities? He turned
reaping,
in. No, it wasn't a reap. It was an inward turn or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that? Do you know what that is, Mark? Like if you turn inwards or you turn out, IBJJF, it's not allowed.
What belt is he?
He's blue.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It would have been under purple. It would have been under purple rules because it's blue and purple.
Generally in the federation, and I haven't competed in there and haven't done that domain for a while. I won't expand on that. Yeah. But if you're going for a straight foot lock and you're attacking that leg, if you're heading that way, it'll be fine. As soon as you start to head that way, those federation refs will nail you straight away.
So he did that. He turned in on the straight foot, but then the guy kind of rolled out. So Winston went, I'll let it go with a warning. The next time he went in for it again, and ref Winston had to disqualify him from the qualifiers. That's why his guy went on, and whatever happened, I think.
Well, we had
Bobby Sandu.
Bobby pull out. So what I always do, if someone pulls out, I always go back to the qualifiers first, because obviously these guys have paid to try and get on the show. So I always go back to them guys first and ask.
Look for
if
exciting
they want
guys.
to jump in. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was interesting because the boys talked about it we had Sonny Brown and we had Ari doing the commentary for Subversion, the show for Ascension. Ari was saying the IBJJF are looking at making that legal now in the new updated rules.
Often it's hard, like who's initiated that. You know what I mean?
Is
it the attacker doing that, or is that
Is that him?
Them trying to defend it, force that, and then it's up to the ref to decide.
But it's also the same with reaping, isn't it? Like if someone's got the leg there, and if they pull it across.
Yeah, I think refs initially are really poor like that. Like I remember Asian Open one year, I literally watched someone grab the leg and jam it there and then point to the ref, and that ref was so out of touch that he disqualified that person. That was a fella from Melbourne. Again, if you fly away to Japan and you get poor refereeing like that, it's pretty disappointing. Even the local scene, when I've competed historically, they'll just DQ you and not give you an explanation. They'll just tell you to stand up, DQ you, and they don't even want to open their mouth. I think that's a pretty poor experience. I won't shit can Federation refs. They know my thoughts on them. But all we can do is focus on what we're doing and make sure we're articulating it as clearly as we can to competitors and making sure it is fair. Give them that opportunity. Give them a warning where you can.
Exactly.
If it's blatant and they're trying to hurt someone, then that's a bit different.
Yeah.
But in that situation, let's try and just let the match flow. Give them a warning. Make sure they don't do it again. If they do repeat it, well, then you've got to DQ them. They've had the flexibility afforded to
with guys like Kane and Winston, they're on top of things like that, I think, and they know. They did a great job, both of them. And we were talking about possibly getting Matt Diaz involved in reffing next time, maybe having 3 men. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we could definitely rotate through. He'd be more than competent.
He did that. When you were away. He reffed because we had Lance. We had Lance. A few little things that we hadn't told him about. That just the way that we like to run the show. Like he started one match too early because I hadn't told him that we need to wait for the lights and the cameras and things like that. But other than that, once we told him that, he was great.
Yeah, no, he was good.
All right, that's all the split decisions that we had. I'll tell you what was interesting, George. We had you posted on the Subversion page. Is it BJJ Worldwide? Or there was a article where a guy had all our results and
the Jits
magazine or something.
Jits magazine.
Yeah, that was good. That was because I normally write down in my spreadsheet all the winners and things, and with that I could just copy and paste. And he had every split decision, every unanimous. He was great.
Messaged me post event and asked for the results. Yeah. But obviously a very big page. I think they got 150,000 followers or something.
Yeah, who does write for Jits magazine?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it is either.
That'll be our 4th article I think they've written about us, because they did one after Equinox, they did one after Origin.
Oh yeah,
they've done they've done a few. I think they did a promo for this one. They were saying Bob and
I remember that one. They wrote the article beforehand.
Yeah, saying it's going to be for the heavyweight belt, and that was good. So
onto the prelims.
Before we get onto that, I was just going to quickly touch on the winners of the night. The takedown of the night went to Kendra Doyle, I believe.
Oh no, that was submission of the night.
Was she submission of the night?
Ninja choke.
No, fastest
submission of the night on Victoria Singh, ninja choke. That was the first ninja choke we've had in Subversion. Takedown of the night, sorry, that was Melly with that throw on Ronan that we just saw in the prelims. Yep. Submission of the night went to Cash Douglas. Was it a jumping guillotine? I can Fast forward.
It was
Was
an
it mounted?
explosive. Yeah, he ended up in a mounted guillotine.
There
Had
it is here.
quite a
there
bit of
was,
talk.
yeah, wasn't that it?
There it is.
Yeah.
There. So, I'll just play at normal time.
Yeah, he's only got one speed. It's great.
Yeah.
It's just...
He wouldn't know how to stall.
But that's the kind of guys we want, right?
Yeah.
So he's wrestling up. Tam's actually got a single leg. That's a very similar suplex to what Bob got thrown by Suppo. Yeah, it's just like a jumping...
Oh, he just ended the guillotine
nice.
explosively, and nice amount of torque on the end of it as well.
Yeah, that was a good sub. And then the fastest, match of the night was Ryan and Kaio. What do you boys think of that one?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it was good to see Kaio back because he's had a long layoff with knee reconstruction. So coming back and looking as good as that is, yeah.
He actually did a really good job of like his mat awareness and mat control. Sometimes,
Kaio?
Yeah, he would. Sometimes he was giving position just so he could enter a takedown and not just set it up or look to game it. He was legitimately trying to take.
So, as in, you mean like stepping back so that he had enough room in front of him to go for a double leg kind of thing, or?
Yeah, and I've seen it a couple of times that match. He'd be heading towards the mat, and it looked like he was going to push out, and then he would allow that position to come back, and then
just to give himself room to.
Yeah, he still had something he was setting up, and he knew what he was going for, but his mat awareness and mat control was really, really smart, and also.
Oh, there's a nice tempo right. That was nice.
Good to see you not trying to hurt his opponent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a couple of times like there's a good example. Those fellas are nearly going off, but they were both looking.
There was actually a bit of that. Like they would get to the edge, and boys would hold on to each other. And I also loved how Kane was anticipating takedowns at the edge, and at one stage, I think it was with the big boys, maybe Grant, and he would actually grab onto the gi and stop them. Like he could see a takedown coming. Kane was really switched on in that.
Kane's a mount of a man. You can see the size of his hands are abnormal to his body. That's why his gi grips are so hard to deal with. He's just a monster in terms of his frame and structure. I think he'll be.
That was close to the edge there. Yeah.
I think he'd be good when there is a bigger contest happening. Just to, Winston's a good ref, but I don't know he's going to be able to control some bigger humans juxtaposed with Kane.
Yeah, but that's what I loved about Kane. The fact that he was so hands on. Yeah, really experienced ref, and I just loved the way he was doing it. George and I were talking about this. Like, obviously, we have an 8x8 stage. We would love to be able to do a 10x10 or something, and give the guys a bit more room to wrestle. But just in the roundhouse, it is such an intimate, small venue. If we put another 2 meters around the perimeter, we get hundreds of people less in the venue, and the shows aren't viable. So that's the reasoning behind that. But yeah, this was a nice little hip throw by Kaio. Yeah, that was a good match, and I especially liked Kaio's hair. I said that to him. The other awards, which we haven't announced them. There's no cash prize or anything. It was just like a little bit of instant content. But walk out of the night, George. Do you ever walk out of the night?
Walk out of the night.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I just made these up last night, by the way. There wasn't a whole...
Nothing that really sticks out for me. What have you got?
Flo came out, dancing, flipped on stage. Like,
oh, yeah.
I think he used too much of his energy in the walkout, to be honest. And then,
no, we did talk about this Flo. If there were points for submission escapes...
yeah, he was caught really deep in that triangle. Shit.
Yeah.
And he, to get out of that,
well,
was
good. I think this is the finish of Kaio Ryan right now. He's got him locked up. He's on back. If you guys follow Art of Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram, we sent her some of this content to make up a video about it. She draws... Have you seen it, Mark? She draws like good submissions or good moments in Jiu-Jitsu. So she made a nice little piece of art with Kaio getting that sub.
That was a pretty nice back sequence as well there.
She's just done...
Nadia?
She's just done a drawing for me as well, actually.
Oh, has she?
Yeah.
What, with the face card on, or?
No, it's actually... it's... what do you call it?
Yeah, Mel's great. I like her. Art of Jiu-Jitsu, give her a follow. Yeah,
she's drawn me a Boston crab, like two big fat guys doing a Boston crab, and underneath it says BJJ, and then in brackets it says British Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm not like producing it. I'm just going to wear it for myself just to take the piss.
Do you know what a Boston crab is, Mark?
Yeah, I do know that particular.
Well, that's WWE.
But I confirmed with Sonny. I was like, Sonny, is this originally like a like catch wrestling move, like an English catch wrestling move, and he was like, yes, definitely is, and he definitely knows his history on grappling. So I was like, right, it's going on there, it's going on the shirt.
And walkout outfit of the night, boys. Did you just happen to see that?
To be honest, I want.
KFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know that you didn't notice that?
Nah, I was just thinking we're overdue for Gallon to come back.
Well, there's a lot less females in the crowd this time.
Yeah. So Gallon, for those who don't know, Gallon, Pete Gallon.
Come on, mate, don't do that to
you've got a Sharkies jersey. I'm just thinking I've got Paul on my mind. Pete Gallon is a male dancer, and George, you and I were talking to the venue at one stage for his last match. Remember, he wanted to breathe fire when he came out.
Yeah.
And we set it all up. We spoke to the venue. We got it signed off. We had to do like safe work method statements and risk assessments, all that. And then he goes, actually, no, I don't think I'll do it this time. I'll just walk out and strip. Oh.
Well, didn't I say, well, yeah, where's he going to do it?
Yeah.
And he was like, he's going to blow it on the stage.
He was going to stand right at the right at the top and blow it onto the stage.
So I was like, well, all the excess is just going to go on the mats. So I was like, it's either going to ruin the mats or it's just going to be slippery as hell. Like, this better not.
So we got into the details of it, and we're like, so what are you actually breathing? And he goes, well, it's jet fuel. And I put jet fuel in my mouth and spit it and have a flame in front of it.
Yeah.
I didn't put as much thought of it in as George did, but yeah, if that landed on the mats, it could have been pretty.
This is actually one of my favourite parts of the night.
Oh.
George has just gone over and asked Izzy and Jacob to only have one corner, and they virtually told him to jog on.
No, I didn't even go over. I just saw it. I just saw it was them two and went, yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything.
So I've had to go and ask them just to, if you're real firm.
You're over there now. Yeah.
If you both want to stay, at least keep your heads down. The preference is to have one. But I can see where they're coming from too. If you've come from Smeaton Grange all that way into and there's only two of you, I can see why they want to stay there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big deal if we, 1, 2, as long as we're not.
As long as
6 people
exactly.
there blocking the view of front row.
I'm the same. We put one chair there, so if one other guy's happy to crouch, I'm fine with it. But
this is a good match,
and especially in a match like this, which was, what would you call this, featured bout number 1, the fourth last of the card.
So Josh came out in a KFC tracksuit.
That was.
Is he actually sponsored by it?
I joke that he is, but I'm not sure. But I don't know where you'd get that made. I was absolutely fuming. So you can see me there with my little stabilizer.
Mm-hmm.
In between walkouts, I press start and stop so that it breaks it up into clips. I press stop, and then Josh comes out in the best outfit of the night. Got up to the mat, and I had pressed stop, and I wasn't recording Josh's walkout, so I was fuming. Like you see him there. We've got this on the stream, so I can use this, but it's not the quality of mine. But anyway, so that was Josh's walkout outfit of the night. But yeah, so whenever I get a chance to edit up some of these, we'll put them out as little reels, and people can share them. And yeah,
is he Big Igor there?
Big Igor. Yeah, a lot of those guys causing a fuss backstage, just people walking backstage. Next time we're going to be a bit harder on that, I think. Yeah. Just like 18 people seeing each other backstage.
Maybe we'll just get Malcoon and old mate backstage.
Just to stand
Izzy, put him on the books.
Izzy and
we should. Because we had 2 people doing the marshalling backstage. One of them is my cousin, and he's a hard ass. And I said, anyone that's not a coach, tell him to sit back in general admission. And Daniel, who's Slovakian Daniel, is just so much more relaxed. Oh, don't worry, let him go. So having those two not on the same page, people are just like, sweet, we can do what we want.
I think as a competitor, you can always pop out and catch up with people in the crowd.
Exactly.
It's not a big deal if you're restricting access there. So,
But the thing is, people don't understand that we're trying to get guys out quickly. These guys are, in their own heads. They're walking back and forth to the toilet. So to keep them in that space while people are running around, it's just a logistical nightmare to make these shows run smooth. So people don't understand.
Kids running around.
Yeah, a lot of people running backstage. You can see a kid trying to get through backstage there now. The boys are blocking him.
What do you want? Is Josh Cullabow's obviously keen to go again? Who you got in mind?
I don't know. George, you got anyone for him? Well, like I said, this George match makes all the matches. This one was mine. This is the only one that I've made, I think.
It's probably
pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I understand. For those fighting in the UFC, not having heel hooks just because what happened to Cub.
Him and Cash could be pretty fun, actually.
The only thing is Cash is a bit wild, and Cash likes a heel hook as well.
Yeah,
so.
it does have to be.
But it's not his centre of his game, so maybe there is the potential to...
But that's why we went with Chris as well, because Chris is same size. Chris trains with the MMA boys.
Loves going for takedowns.
Chris loves a takedown. Chris is more of a traditional guy. Like, he loves an armbar. He loves a back take. He's not necessarily a footlocker. So putting these two together was a good, like a great matchup.
It's like Curtis had a match against Phil Hawes on King's Cup Grappling, and it was just a frustration. You tell someone like Curtis you can't do a heel hook.
Yeah, that's his bread
heel
and butter, right?
half of his victims. So I just feel like it's a bit of a disappointment, but at the same time, having someone of that level come in, it's still worth doing.
Is he a bit of a unit as well? That Phil?
Yeah,
Hawes,
he's pretty well built.
Yeah, I remember watching.
He's obviously clean, like he's in the UFC, so he's not taking any supplements.
I remember watching it and going, "Geez, he's pretty stacked." Like he was shorter, wider than Curtis.
Chris is now off the mat. So this was funny as well. So Josh got back the night before at 5 o'clock. He was on a Miami holiday, so flew back at 5 p.m. for the weigh-ins. Flew back at 5 p.m. Got to the weigh-ins at 6:30, weighed in, and then fought the next day.
Professional.
He's
has he got a fight lined up?
Not yet, I don't think. No. Yeah. Well, he can't take if he had a fight lined up in the UFC, he can't take like a grappling match. So we'll just have to work around that. Maybe sometime in the next year we get him back on after he's had his next UFC fight.
Yeah. Looked like he had a good time.
Yeah, he had a ball. He messaged me the next day. He was sick as a dog as well. He messaged me the next day and said how much fun he had and find someone else for me, so he's keen. Yeah. And as we said, Chris Casaselli, this was his 8th appearance, same as Ali. What I was saying, boys, is that Tito and Harry are now tied second. So we've got Ali and Chris, 8 appearances. Tito, Harry, 7 appearances.
Harry's got 7 as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because he's got 7 appearances because of the second quintet. He had 4 matches on one night, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy Skinner, Luke Castles, Luke Martin, Kevin Ryman, all in the same night. Tito and Ali have the most wins on Subversion. I think they're both on 6 wins. A couple of little stats for you.
I had a brief chat with Harry after the event, and he said he was heading up to 120. So that would be an interesting...
What was he on the night, do you know? He didn't weigh in because he was at the hospital.
He's at least 110, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
He was pretty big.
I thought he was around 106, somewhere around there for trials, I believe.
106?
He might have been a little bit heavier by the time of this event. Yeah. Credit to him going straight from the hospital.
Yeah.
And then straight back, like that was...
It was nice how Matt de Groot, mentioned that after and got a nice cheer from the crowd. So
I think Harry liked that. His missus probably liked saying that too. So Matt de Groot, for those who don't know, Matt de Groot works on rugby union. He works on cricket like Sydney Sixers, MC for massive events. He works on Nova 969. He's seen some big boys in rugby, in rugby league. He saw Harry take his shirt off and he looked at me and went, holy shit. Like, Harry is a big boy. I guess Suppo is too, but anything you guys...
I think that's good for the crowd when you got specimens like that.
Yeah. Highlights of the night for you guys?
Well, a lot of them we've already mentioned, but
we've touched on some of them. So we'll go back. We'll go back and we'll just go through it because Mark's got a hell of a lot of notes. But is there anything that stands out?
For me, Kaio coming back after that ACL surgery. Yeah. Cash again, always just relentless. Even these boys, Josh Kulubau and Chris. Just always giving it their all. So, that's probably it for me.
Mark, is it like with you? You're so switched on and looking at every detail of the match. Are you like me and you don't necessarily see highlights and things like that because you're too in the moment?
I had to make notes after the event just to make sure I retained everything. I think I've been hitting the head too much over the years, so my memory's not what it was. but I really liked Oliver and Jaden.
I did too.
That in terms
Oh
of
yeah, we totally forgot about that.
yeah, you know, like
Well,
crowds.
we're
fun,
going to go
eh?
back to it. We're going back
It
to
was
it.
just so fun.
Yeah, and they were having a good time out there. Like
yeah.
they're both big humans.
Yeah.
Like they're certainly not at a level yet to have a match with, say, Suppo or Tito. But in terms of building and coming along, they've both improved quite a bit. So I've watched them compete multiple times on different events, and they've clearly both improved. There's some sequences in that match. I think Oliver ended up in top position after one of those sequences, and he's like smiling and nodding to the crowd, and the crowd are loving it.
And then got reversed. And we're like,
And Jaden had brought like Iconic always seemed to heap up, and
a bunch of guys.
you know, it's just a really good atmosphere. And I think, you know, I look forward to watching both those guys compete in the future because they are so entertaining.
That was a good match. I like that. Mine, like I said, I didn't have too many like massive highlights. I was just so happy with the way the production ran that night. Like every event, there's always something that stuffs up or something that goes wrong or something that I wasn't happy with. Everything just ran smoothly this time. Every bit of audio, every bit of lighting, every bit of camera work. Like I was very happy with the whole production.
I think young Matilda here trains at the GB Powerhouse on the Central Coast.
Yeah, so she's with that Max Ferreira, who is on the main card. She trains with him, I believe.
Is that a different gym to Danilo?
I thought it was the same gym.
Oh, the same gym.
I think it is.
Yeah, Danilo's gym.
Yeah.
He's always like produced quality, like Billy Newman, Lucas Kennard.
Oh, right, they come
back
from
in the day, like
creator of the K Guard. Yeah.
That's right.
I think I think Matilda's like 14 or 15.
Yeah, she was the youngest we've had on the show.
She won the AJP Worlds only a few months before. Then just got a green belt, and I opened it up the women's qualifiers where anyone could go in. So she jumped in and.
Yeah. For those listening, we've just now gone back. We'll go through the matches one by one. Probably won't give as much detail into the early matches as we'd like, but we got to get through it. The match we're looking at now is Matilda Reid versus Meg. I can't remember how you say her last name. Is it Petrakowski? She's from the.
I know Matt DeGroot nailed the last name.
Did he?
Night. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because he said it different to how I say it, so I think.
Or maybe he got it wrong, but it sounded convincing.
But I think what happens is Matt DeGroot turned up at about 5. Him and I have a briefing, and then so does he and Sonny. And Sonny goes through pronunciations with him because some people I've got no idea, but Sonny helps him out with that. But yeah, this was a good match. I remember I was filming in the crowd and I saw a lady in a cowboy hat screaming her head off, crying, and it was as Matilda won, and it was her mum. So that was a nice little thing. But yeah, Meg put on a good showing.
Oh, they were both really good. Like, it's just a good way to kick the night off.
Yeah. What did you have down for this one, Mark? Anything?
Oh, it's just what you'd expect from GB Central Coast. Like, Danilo is a good coach. He understands jiu-jitsu, and he's got a long history of producing talent. I'm not surprised that he's producing quality kids.
Yeah, she did really well. She got a sub at the qualifiers and then got a sub on the big stage. Match 2 was Tony versus Jun. We went through this a bit earlier. Good match. I believe Ari left the commentary booth to go and coach Jun for this one, so we had Brian Ebersol jump in on commentary.
I didn't know that.
Did you? That was fun.
Yeah, he would be good at that.
Yeah, he was actually really good because Ari knows all the details and things like that, but then again, so does Sonny. But having Brian there was a bit of I think he did really well. Like things that like more normal people watching would pick up on, and like he was asking about grips and he was asking about things that people at home, like, mums and dads that don't do jiu-jitsu might be thinking. So it actually was a good little element aspect of the commentary.
Entertaining as well, without trying.
Funny as hell. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't try too hard. Then we moved on to Melly Haktan and Ronan. We said that one was a good match. Lots of back and forth with the wrestling. Melly obviously coming out on top and getting takedown of the night. Sorry. The fourth, what did you boys think of this one? This was Nelson Landfear and Mike Rigel from Garage. Gi match. I think it went the distance.
Yeah, he's another young kid as well. Nelson, I think he's 17 or 18 or something as well. Yeah. And Mike, he was just pumping us up and just so stoked to get on Subversion. I'm sure he had a great time and wants to do it again as well.
Yeah, he was loving it. So he was, I don't know if you follow him or anything, Mark, but he was like pumping every day, showing his workouts and tagging us, and Kind of like another Grant Barlow making his own almost prefix type videos, just helping us do the promotion. It's good to have guys like that involved. Obviously from Garage, who support us a lot too. Cash and Tam was the fifth one. We've gone through that a bit. We had some nice wrestling exchanges.
I used to think Cash didn't like me when I trained with him back in the day at Sydney Uni, just because of his style of grappling. It's so aggressive and so in your face. And even at training, he brings that same energy. And I was like, geez, what have I done to upset this fella? But then afterwards, he's lovely, and you have a chat, and it took a while to understand, that's just how he grapples. Yeah, right. And in terms of entertainment, that's what you want to see.
With that, Mark, I've got a question for you. What do you think about, where do you draw the line with those heavy the heavy snap downs and things like that? Is there a chance for a warning, or like those foot sweeps that are actually like leg kicks? Where do we draw the line there?
Often it comes back to, it's important to have good refs. So we had good refs here, so you weren't going to have any issues of that nature. Yeah. I find it self-regulates.
Yeah, okay.
For example, if I was having a match with Cash and he hit me with a heavy collar tie, I would hit him with a collar tie of equal
just
standing, just to let him know.
I'm not going to be...
I'm not whinging, but I'm here. Yeah. That should be enough for him to go, maybe I put too much heat on that, or maybe he escalates, and at that point, that's when the ref would...
you can see here, we're in the Grant, sorry to cut you off, with the Grant Sergio, and you saw Kane grabbing the geese, stopping them from going off the edge. But sorry, Mark,
Yeah, so it should self-regulate. Where it's like junior competitors that aren't, maybe they lack in maturity, or they don't have the emotional regulation that others would have, that's when you need good reffing. Because if someone hits a collar ties too hard and then it's looking like it could propel from there, that's where the ref needs to pull them together and go, hey, this is jiu-jitsu. If you want to do that, you can fight MMA. Like, there's that pathway if you want it. This is a jiu-jitsu match. And same with if someone's doing repeated foot sweeps that aren't foot sweeps and they're just kicking them in the leg, that'll self-regulate too. But also, if it's not, the ref just needs to pull it in and go, hey, try using some technique. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Or go and fight MMA if that's what you want to do, but I think you'll find it's quite different, and they're going to kick you a lot harder than what people are doing in these matches.
Exactly. We're now up to match 6, which was Grant Sergio. This was going to be a lot higher because they are black belts. I think this was originally going to be on the main card, wasn't it, George? But
I think it was going to kick off the main card.
Yeah, because like I said, big boys, both black belts, both highly respected, big crowds for both of them. But Sergio had the SJJA awards night that same night and wanted to get to it, so we put him on early.
Two of the fittest 40-year-olds around.
Yeah, they're both in really good nick. The crowd was really into this match as well. I think half that cohort.
That top section, that's all the synergy guys, I think.
Grant sent me a message the next day, and he was like, shit, that Sergio's bloody strong.
Well, I think they've fought before.
Yeah.
I also liked, sorry, George. Yeah. After that, Sergio acknowledged close match, didn't go my way. I'll be back training tomorrow. Owned it.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Right. And it was close. It could have gone either way. In some judges' opinion, it was a 3-2. I like that. Put his hand up. Yeah. Fell short tonight, but see on the next one. Sort of like a good mentality and a good example to others.
Yeah. And what do you think of Grant's gi there?
Is it a sub-apparel gi? Is it? Oh, super sexy.
Got him hooked up there. So.
Nice. Oh, that's because he's got a custom patch on the back too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just got that printed on the back.
I thought he was alluding to it, the gi opening up and his chest.
Showing off his that's even better. Like, that's even better.
And I'm looking pretty good up there on stage 2. That's good.
So, I've had a few... George, I've had a few people ask about this. They said, what's the go with the photos on stage? They're thinking it's a bit clunky. So I don't know if we can it or if we go to a wide shot, but they're like... People at home are going to be like,
I wanted to get some back to maybe the girls putting the medals on, or
I like you being up there.
I feel weird getting up there because obviously I know everyone, I know everyone reasonably well, and I feel a bit bad because there's always going to be a winner. I'm like, so I'm like, if you see me, I'm always trying to hide in that corner, and then just wait for my opportunity to just come up and put a medal on
sneak
someone.
In without seeing the loser. But that's the jiu-jitsu game. There's always going to be a winner and a loser. If you shake the hand of the guy, that I do that too. If I'm coming on stage and the guy's had a good match, I just give him a awesome match, guys.
I've been trying that last time when both the losers walking off stage, and I'm always trying to like give them a quick pound back.
But that's all.
Good job.
That's all you can do. Like
yeah.
You
also got to remember this is the cream of the crop too. Like this isn't a local competition, tournament. These are the best competitors on the. There's going to be a winner and loser. It's zero sum.
And that's what they're signing up for. Yeah, exactly. This is the next one. The big boys that we were talking about before, Jaden Rutherford and Ollie. I couldn't pronounce his name. Matt de Groot did a good job of that too. He was hilarious. This guy. He was lifting up his shirt the whole time, flexing his belly. I'll fast forward to the bit that you boys were talking about. I think Jaden was behind him with like a body lock or something, and that's where happen. It's on Mark's side of the stage, and here it is, I think, and he does her like a nice roll. Here we go. Boom, and ends up on top, and then looks to the crowd, and he's like, yeah. And then gets a bit too cocky and lifts his chin up too high. Yeah, that was a great
exchange.
Yeah. And then a big takedown from the...
Jesus.
Comes off the edge.
Wave around, isn't it?
Yeah,
Jaden,
that was...
What's Jaden? He must be like, 6'5"?
Yeah, he's a huge guy. Because I chat to all these guys on Instagram beforehand, getting their matchup, their walkout songs and things like that. When I saw him, I was like, holy shit, I didn't realise how big a guy he was. Big man, you can see here, Kane is like, get here now. Big man's trying to take a couple more breaths.
Well, look at Felipe Pena recently in his match. He ran off the stage and then, virtually ran off the stage and then took ages to walk around. Oh, really? And then argued. And it was all strategic. He's just trying to get a breather. Yeah. At least Oliver just took that on the chin.
Yeah, he's like,
yes, Kane.
You see Jaden on his back now.
He got a Kimura in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had Mark's partner, Taylor. She was at ringside with Matt de Groot. So for those who don't know, Matt de Groot, again, he's football, he's cricket. He doesn't know jiu-jitsu. So when he gets up on stage and says... winner by inside Sinkaku or whatever. What's the fancy names that you say, Mark?
Oh, like a katagatami, or instead of a head-arm triangle, things of that nature. Yeah, so that's Taylor.
Matt de Groot's got no idea, but Taylor's given him all that info.
and it's funny. I was actually talking to Luke about it this week. Taylor's knowledge is beyond mine in some positions, which is astronomical.
He's finishing off a nice Kimura there. Yeah.
It's people say, oh, what sport do you do? Oh, jiu-jitsu. What belt are you? She says, I'm a blue belt. And the people will go, oh, you're a blue belt. So they think she has no idea. Yeah. But, you put her with, she's rolled with Nadia Franklin and lost by an advantage before. And she just got double gold at Brown Belt Worlds. So in terms of where's the level at, it's hard because some gyms gives belts out for Christmas and others there's a standard. There's no real, what belt out doesn't matter anymore. How do you roll is probably a better question.
Yeah.
But to the masses at your local work Christmas party, you tell them you're a blue belt, they just think you're shit.
The boys here having a nice little cuddle. Like I said, Matt de Groot, he's good at what he does, doesn't know jiu-jitsu, so having Taylor next to him really makes him look good.
And they get on pretty well. They're having a great time.
He when you guys were away, he turned up and he went, oh, is Taylor and Mark here? I was like, oh, no, they're away. He's like, fuck. He liked working with Fran and Lance, but he loved you guys.
He's good value. I think he's going to be going to England though. So
he is.
We might be missing out on him for.
So I've got that in my wrap up. But Mark, you've brought it up early. So Matt de Groot leaving Nova 969. He had his last week this week, I think, and is leaving. His wife is an entertainment reporter for, I believe it's the morning show, like Channel 7, like not Koshy and them, but like the 9 o'clock. I think that's what she does. And she's got a job over as a royal correspondent over in London. So a big opportunity for her. So Matty's packing up, him and his little boy going over with her. Matty was hard to lock down for these matches when he lived in Sydney. Like he lives near you, Mark. So like near Taylor, sorry. So even getting him to book in for 3 events when he lived in Sydney was hard. So him coming from London, he's like, if you pay my flights, I'll do the show. I'll do the shows for free. You pay my flights. So George and I will work something out, but I don't hold much.
We'll ship you on the boat, mate.
China Southern,
put him on a cruise. Yeah. But no, it'll be hard to find a replacement for him because he does a great job. I love Matty.
Could switch back to Sonny maybe.
Sonny was great, but then Sonny's also great on commentary. So it's like
you could get Jeremy and Ari on the commentary, maybe Sonny.
But Sonny's that kind of John Anik like can keep the show rolling. So we need someone like that. But anyway, we'll work that out. That's next year's problem. Kendra Doyle is now coming up against Victoria Singh. Kendra's always fun. We can probably watch this whole match, boys, because it only goes for 50.
She wants to have a crack at no-gi next time.
I heard you've got an opponent for her. Are we keeping that under wraps?
Yeah, keep it under wraps.
We'll keep it under wraps for now. Yeah, she always puts on a good show. I think this one, was this the one, Mark, where it was so quick that we missed the time for the sub? We had to go back and watch the bloody replay and get the time there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
This happened so quickly because it was a bit of a unique sub. Like you don't see a ninja choke every day. It was a little bit of discussion.
I also don't think the production boys picked it up. I think it was like pretty much dead silence because here you see her locking it up here. I don't think the lights flashed. I don't think the music came on because the boys were like, "What happened?" I'm pretty sure it was this one, and I'm on the radio going, "Boys, that was a sub. You know, do something." You see it here. I think it's right now. There we go. There's the tap.
Yeah, so that's really hard. It wouldn't matter. Kane's probably the only one that had a clear view of it.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to have like a hand signal for the refs to say that's a sub or something. Because like I said, it's hard for the production boys. They're a mile away. They're watching on a TV screen this big. Moving on. Did you have anything else for that one, Mark?
Oh, just how, really quick, and it was cool to see. Like a ninja choke, something you might do at training. Like if I was rolling with George, I'd be trying to ninja choke George. If I had a gi on, for a bit of a laugh. To do it on the stage, that's cool.
Something else. We went through this one already. This was Jess and Michelle. We've talked through that. Michelle taking the win. She was good value in the lead up as well.
I spoke about this match. It's pretty good.
This was a good match.
Was it?
Yeah.
Raf had really good escapes from like some deep submissions. So
he was the first one to come out on the night with no shirt on, I believe. And I think De Groot looked at me and went, "Is he allowed to do that?" I'm like, yeah, why not?
Finn has done a lot of training with Lucas Kennard. Nico. I don't want to have a go at Nico's last name. I thought I had it right.
McGleesick?
That's what I say, but I don't know if I'm butchering that.
Yeah.
Nico Magic, we'll say. Just
Nico
to
Magic.
Make it simple.
I just saw a post. He's gone to Wolf Den.
I think he's just teaching there, isn't he?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So you boys, what did you think of this match, boys? Were you happy with it?
It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, Finn's improved heaps and he's already good. So it'd be interesting to see.
He's really young too, isn't he?
Yeah, and
early 20s?
Yeah, he'd be early 20s. He's at uni.
Yeah.
I believe he's still at uni. Maybe he's spending more time on the mat these days, but he's enrolled at university at the least, I'm sure.
Yeah, like he was caught here in a triangle. Manages to get out of this one. There was a heel hook as well that was pretty deep. Raf got out of that.
That's another guy that backed up from ADCC.
Yeah.
Raf went from Singapore back over here, and it was a fun match. We had that ended up being a decision for Finn.
Yep.
After that, boys, came Mark Scott and Josh Atkins. Both guys have competed lots before, I think. Mark's sixth appearance, I think.
Yeah.
I think Josh Atkins third.
They were tied at 1-1 previously, so both boys wanted to get one up on the other.
Yeah. Josh Atkins come through the qualifiers a few times. I think this was his first time we'd invited him on. I think the other two times he came through the qualifiers. Mark Scott, like I said, coming from Garage. He's been
pretty active recently. He's been going to Masters Worlds and No-Gi Worlds.
We always have him back as well because he's another one of those guys that just goes out there, doesn't care, puts on a show, has fun. I think after this, I believe, was Jacinta. Yeah, Jacinta and Rebecca. I think Rebecca put on a great show here.
This is a hard one. Rebecca Fitzgerald's main thing is heel hooks. So you take that off. It makes it a bit hard for her.
I remember. So this was another one. So Jacinta is also an MMA fighter. So like Josh, you can't jeopardise their career. So we had a no heel hooks rule for it.
I wish that was a thing when I was going through.
Get a contract with UFC or someone, and then you were bloody one FC, weren't you?
Yeah. So it's like you got to fight in the cage with those rules. Why don't you just use this as a good opportunity to practice?
Yeah.
I know competing against guys like Richie Pappas, when I was coming through, that was great learning for me. You get heel hooked in 40 seconds. Well, you know what you're doing that week. You don't want that to happen in the cage. That'd be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
So practicing your skills as that would be applied. I understand if you're Volkanovski and you got to couple $100,000 riding on it. But if you're a lower level like I was, you're only making $4,000 off a fight. You know, there's no need to ban heel hooks in that scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know.
What did you think of this one, Mark? What did you think of this one?
Jacinta's passing pressure was sort of the main thing here. Constantly trying to pass. It would, again, if there was heel hooks, maybe she's going to elevate the half butterfly, but without that, I'm not quite sure what the intention was. Jacinta was fairly heavy from the top.
Yeah.
And it's going to, with an MMA style, they're always going to have that sort of approach. It's going to be difficult to deal with. If people are used to just pure grappling, they're going to struggle when an MMA fighter comes in and starts to apply that top pressure, which Jacinta was doing.
Well, you see in Rebecca's corner, you've got Keller Loxley from Grappling Education. That's Jacob, if you haven't seen him before. Jacob Kachanek, big Slovakian wrestler. He's just come over from the World Championships, and he was telling me he was doing translations, Russian to English for, I think, Flow. Flow were doing the Wrestling World Championships. He was doing the interpretation.
Where was that?
I'm going to say it wasn't Kazakhstan. I'm going to say some Eastern European country.
There I am again.
Yeah. So that people are just confused. They're like, why are they getting a photo? That was the Humble promo. That was great. Academy 411, Alta. This was our intermission.
So the next one.
Next one was
Xavier.
Ali Xavier. So, boys, this one was a last-minute change-up as well. So on the for months we had this is Isaac handing out some T-shirts actually. But for months we had Ali booked in the co-main event against Taliesin, and so George and I went up to Byron Bay. We filmed with Taliesin. What did we spend, George? $800 at least, going up there, filming with him.
I got into an argument with my missus over it.
Flew back.
Why are you going up to Byron Bay? Why are you spending the weekend up there?
I spent a lot of time editing, promo work, doing it all. And then, we didn't think anything of it. So, Taliesin had sent us his walkout song. He'd told George, find me an opponent for my mate, Junior. There was a whole back and forth. So we didn't think anything was wrong with it. Then he started to kind of ghost us a little bit. Then it got to a point where the week of the show, I said to George, is everything sweet? Is Bob coming down? Nikki, Taliesin, they all sorted with flights and accommodation. George said, yep. Got to Wednesday, it got to Thursday, and I said, have you heard anything about Taliesin's flights? And we hadn't. So we're like, we need to get onto this because this is strange. So we contacted him. It took about 3 or 4 phone calls to his gym to get a hold of. We had to speak to reception, who then went to get him.
I couldn't get a hold of him.
Yeah, he was fobbing us. He was unavailable at the moment. It took 3 or 4 phone calls. Finally got a hold of him, and I said, "Hey mate, what's going on?" "Oh, I'm waiting for an X-ray on my foot." I went, "It's 2 days before the event, mate." "Yeah, so I'm waiting to see what the doctor says." I said, "Are you coming to the show? We got weigh-ins tomorrow." "I'm waiting for my doctor." That was the line he just kept repeating.
What do you do? Kick his toe?
No, he wouldn't tell me. That was the line. And so I said, do we need to find a replacement? Maybe have one just in case. And so I went, all right, mate, have a good one. Got onto the phone with George and said, you need to find someone else.
Yeah.
We ended up saying he pulled out due to injury, but the fact is he never actually pulled out. He ghosted us. So George did a whole...
Yeah, he still hasn't messaged me since.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I thought it was, I like Taliesin, think he's a nice guy. But it was a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, he on the phone, he didn't give a shit.
Probably makes it important to have a contract in place, for that scenario. Maybe have a bit more.
I think we did. Did we not send Taliesin a contract?
Yeah. And that was another thing, because once I made a group chat with the guys coming from out of town, and I realised he wasn't even looking at them messages, and I was like, oh no, what's going on here?
So it felt like he knew he wasn't going to compete for a while and just didn't bother telling us. So very disappointing on that part from Taliesin. But we ended up with what I think was a more exciting fight anyway, because Xavier Sales goes out and he puts on a show. He's he's a Mark Scott. He goes out there. He's a Cash Douglas. He goes out hard. He has fun. Always looking for a sub.
It's got very good arm bars as well.
Yeah, same thing. But he's not too bad with a heel hook or two. But he's a more traditional style. Loves an arm bar. Loves a back take. both men taking it on 48 hours notice, and we ended up moving it to the early part of the main card because I think Ali wanted to get his crowd, get out of there early. He's always one of the last matches. So what do you boys think of this one?
Some nice vascularity in the arms there.
Yeah, pretty jacked.
Looks very good. What do you boys think of this as a match?
I
thought it was going to be maybe a lot closer than that than it was. So obviously Ali did very well.
So Xavier had just come back from 2 weeks. I can't remember where he was. He was partying, drinking, possibly smoking. And so he went well for the first, I'd say, 4 minutes. And I could just see a point where he stopped and he just went, shit, I don't have a gas tank. And he told me as much. So at this end part, Ali kind of takes control. I think he ends up with a straight armbar, does he not?
Yeah, he gets an armbar. Sounds like Xavier needs to get back on the Gracie diet. By the sounds of that.
Ali ends up winning by sub. Ali's in side control. He gets a straight armbar. After that, we went to Mick DeMarco, Flo. We touched on this a bit. Flo's great entrance. Some super tight submissions from DeMarco. He's also another one, George, who's got a lot of Subversion appearances. I think this was his 5th or 6th as well, maybe.
Oh, actually, on that Taliesin thing, that's not the first time he's stitched up a promoter either.
Well,
not my story to tell, but he's got a track record of that.
Someone said that when we announced the match. Someone said, I can't remember who it was. They said, "Oh, Taliesin, I've heard he has stitched up a few people before." And he's been on our show twice, so we hadn't had an issue. So we went, no, he's all sweet.
When the recording stops, I'll fill you in on that.
Mick DeMarco, six appearances with this.
Another guy backed up from the week before.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw on his Instagram how he did the takedown straight into armbar. Did you see that? It was did you see that?
At ADCC.
At the trials.
No.
Went pretty viral as well. A lot of people shared it.
Was it like the Mighty Mouse takedown to armbar?
Yeah.
What do they call that? The Mighty...
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yep, that was a good match. And then we moved on to the black belt gi match, which was Gi versus Max Ferreira. Any notes on
he got a
I didn't see that one that
knee
much.
bar on.
I thought it was a good, authentic gi match.
Yeah.
You've got Brazilian coaches in both corners. Very loud. Felt like we were back in Brazil. Do you know what I mean? For that sort of match.
So did you say someone did Max get knee barred and he didn't tap, George? I didn't see it.
Gi caught a pretty tight knee bar.
Yeah.
I think he ended up belly down. And it obviously wasn't tight enough. Max managed to get out of it.
Yeah.
But that pretty much sealed in the match.
Any other notes on that one, Mark?
Yeah, there was a couple of knee bar attempts there. Got my attention.
Yeah. Alliance have been. Yeah, they've been. I think they're. Oh no, they're 2-1 now. Ramon won last time.
Yep.
Murillo. He had that tight one with Ari.
Yep. For those watching the stream, there was a bit of downtime in between these main matches, and that was my fault because when it's daylight savings, the roundhouse is so bright, so the lighting doesn't take effect until about 8:30. So I didn't have any great shots of the venue with the beautiful lighting. So you'll notice there's a bit of time in between matches. Normally I like to make them one after another, but with this you can see the green roof and the lighting effects. I needed some shots of that to make it look nice. So that's what that was about. The third last match of the night was Fran versus Nikki. Gi match.
Yeah. They competed a couple of weeks prior at the IBJJF. Nikki won that, and this was a lot closer than people expected. Yeah, Fran did very well.
She did, didn't she? What do you think of this one, Mark?
Yeah, I've when I was doing that uni project, I spent a fair bit of time watching Nikki Lloyd's matches, and I'd like to see it come back in a no-gi match. That would be my preference. She's actually goes out there and tries to finish people super quick. I don't know what her preference is, whether she prefers gi.
She prefers gi because I said to her at the weigh-ins, I said to both of them at the weigh-ins, I said, girls, maybe go out there, put on a show. Let's call out for the women's title when you're done. So Nikki did that. She ended up winning a match, and she got on the mic and said, put a women's belt on. I was thinking it would be no gi, but she said, do it in the gi. So I don't know.
just from an entertainment standpoint, no gi, there's a little bit more happening. Some of the people that have worn the gi and competed would understand what's happening here. But for the general public, sometimes it's hard to appreciate the nuances of what's actually happening.
Which is what we went on last time, wasn't it? We're saying we want it to be a broader audience, family, friends who don't know the intricacies of lapels and grips, and to be able to watch and go, oh, this is an exciting match. Yeah, you're right.
That's all. Like, some gi matches are entertaining, but if you looked at it as a whole, no gi is more appealing, more entertaining to the masses. You need to be a little bit more educated to appreciate a good quality gi match like this.
Definitely. So Fran, in losing, still did really well. Yeah, great performance. Impressed a lot of people.
And very good to get Nikki on finally.
Yeah.
Get to have female competitor of her caliber.
Yeah.
We medaled at most of the major tournaments internationally. So
really nice girl too. I really like Nikki. So in the lead up, I chatted to her afterwards, and I don't know what's happened there. I think I've paused on a blackout. I said to her, like, did you enjoy yourself? And she's like, yep. I was like, I was a bit worried because she's got her game face on backstage. So I'd go past her and go, you're right. She'd go, yeah. And I was like, oh shit, is she not enjoying herself? Does she not want to be here? Afterwards, I said to her, like, what was going on? She goes, I have resting bitch face when I'm in game mode. And she goes, I had a great time. Here you see Matt de Groot's interviewing her on stage. She calls out for a women's title. I put out.
She
She what?
Calls me on Friday morning and she's like, oh, my flight's been cancelled. I'm like, oh shit, bloody hell.
That was another thing to add to that morning, wasn't it?
She was getting a 7 a.m. flight. And she's like, oh, it's been cancelled and I can't get any other flights. I was like, oh no. So luckily she got one of them like Rex or regional flights or something. Yeah, landed at like 3:30 or something in the afternoon.
So that was a perfect storm that day, wasn't it? We had the Taliesin issue. We then had, what else do we have? So we had the Nikki thing. Bob missed his flight, so missed weigh-ins. Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
Bobby, he messaged us, didn't he? He's like, I've missed my flight. And like, fuck, Bob.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that could go wrong that went wrong in the lead up.
Jetstar don't operate on Brazilian time, mate. It's like, get there on time.
That was a pain in the ass too, because I'd printed out I had 1,000 of the matchup printed out with all the matches. We had to scrap that and find someone that would do that on like an hour's notice on the Friday with the whole new match lineup. And anyway, the things that go into putting on these shows. That's why. This is Tito. Yeah, Ari and Sonny doing a bit of a talk up before the co-main. These are the big boys. Yeah, like I said, Matt de Groot was impressed with the physique of Harry, that's for sure. What do you think of this one, boys?
Loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Especially, Harry coming out with no shirt on always adds to the event. Tito's so casual, and he nearly lulls you into a false sense of security, and then he hits you with some explosive movement, and he's so good at that. Yeah. When he's baiting the Kimura later on in this match, like, that's pretty ballsy, but he's having a great time and just literally leaving his arm out there.
People can't believe how fast he moves for his size, and he showed that in some of at the ADCC as well. That Josh match, like he can scramble and move out very fast.
Yeah, I like this match. I like both of these boys.
And obviously, if Harry gets a hold of your arm, locks up a Kimura, he can finish you.
So, he's literally trying to encourage Harry here to take a grip, and he's
confident.
He loves it.
So the boys, I remember in the lead up to this match, I was on the radio. So while I'm filming, I'm on the radio talking to the production team, and Harry was just disappearing. We're like, where is Harry? And he'd just pop up at the front door, and then he'd pop up in the general admission. And they're hard to keep a track of, these boys. Big Tito on top.
I think Tito was 126, wasn't he? I think.
We
did weigh him in. I think.
You did.
It was something like that.
He told me he was 122 over at trials.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he was 126 in this one.
Yeah. So what did you see in this one, Mark? That
he's fairly dominant here from Tito, where he's managed to get Harry down that position. Very few people can even put Harry to the ground. So that was impressive in itself. It was entertaining. They're both trying to make something happen here. There's no point scoring attempts here. They're legitimately trying to take each other down, which was great.
Here you can see we kept that little break in between the matches on too long because we've got the smoke that's filling the room. I'm on the radio at this point saying, boys, turn off the smoke machines.
Good pace from both of them as well. Like it was a relentless. It's a shorter match, but they both didn't stop the whole time.
Both boys asked, for matchups again next year.
They did?
Yeah.
This is, I like this from Tito too. He thought the match was slowing down a little bit, so he elects to sit guard. In an attempt to push the pace.
Yeah. You see here, you, Mark, conferring with the judges straight up as soon as the bell goes over to the far side, get their opinion. This was unanimous, obviously.
Yeah, they're both really good competitors. Like, you can't take anything away from either. It was awesome. They were willing to put it on such late notice. And I'm sure, Curtis was crook that week. I know he would have liked to have that Deacon match, but he was crook too. He's a connoisseur of Kimuras. At some point, him and Harry, they'll probably run into each other in absolute division, and that'll be entertaining to see. Whose Kimura will prevail.
And I did say to Curtis, I was like, "Go on, just have the match of Harry. Imagine how much shit you could talk down at the gym." Because obviously, all the boys there have all fought him and come up short against Harry. So,
well, I had a couple of matches with him. The first one, I just gave full respect to that Kimura and ended up losing on points. And then I was like, I think I was, too respectful. So then the next one, I just went, fuck his Kimura. I'm just going to go out there, and I got Kimura pretty much straight away.
Was that ADC?
ADCC, yeah. I just thought, fuck his Kimura.
At the most recent one?
It was an event that George ran.
Yeah.
Oh, the Sydney one.
Yeah. You have to respect the Kimura. That was the learning from that undertaking.
Yeah, here you see Matty de Groot interviewing Harry. Lets the crowd know that he had his baby girl that day. Yeah, crowd's going nuts for him. He loved it. I love the lighting effects that our guy Kirky does. He fucking does a great job.
That's the same guy for the last few shows now.
So yeah, he's a roundhouse tech. So we have to have a roundhouse technician on site for the show, and we just said we don't have a lighting guy. Give us your best guy, and he's been our lighting tech for the last 4 shows, and he's great. Every show he tries to add something new and different, and just tweak things, and he does a great job. So, and he loves being a part of it too.
It's going to be really interesting for the next ADCC trials in Thailand to see who actually enters that 99 plus, because Josh is qualified. He's the boogeyman. He gave everyone an eating disorder, and people dropped down to 99. And
who do you think do you think it'll be the same guys that were like Tito will obviously be in it?
Yeah, Ricky Lusney just got silver, so he's definitely going to want to come back.
That's the guy from Perth?
Yeah, he's. I used to train with him in Newcastle. Yep. He's sitting at 130, so he's gone up to 130 kilos. Tito's my, if I had to put my money somewhere, I think Tito's going to be in there. I think you'll see Harry go in there again, and if he puts on a bit more size, and if he's not coming direct from the hospital, that match is going to look a little bit different.
Yeah.
Maybe you might get a few of them Kazakhs pop up at their next trial, eh? Just because I think Thailand
easier to get
into. But the problem is, I read it the other day how, even if they qualify, they really struggle to get into America.
What, with visas and things?
Yeah. So maybe that deters a lot of them. They don't enter the trials. I don't know, but
and I'd say Bob will be odds on for 88.
Yep.
If he can.
Yep.
Obviously, there'll be others there. Kai Rudolph, Curtis.
Yep.
They had that.
88,
Yeah, they had the bronze medal match.
Yep.
Like they'll both be looking to.
Seb's coming down for it as well.
At 88.
Seb Attard, he's jumping in at 88. He could go good.
I watched that video you sent me, the Craig Jones breakdown of the ADCC. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
Did you say you got a shout out?
Yeah, I got a little mini shout out.
What was it?
Yeah.
For what? For running ADCC Australia or something, was it?
Nah, just
the nose guard?
They just mentioned how I shit-canned the first draws, like how all the seeding was just rubbish.
Yeah, and then they ended up changing it, didn't they?
Yeah. A lot of people just hassled Mo, and
you got some pull. Look at this guy.
No, I didn't do anything. I was just bagging him on
socials.
Yeah.
I think universally looking at those first brackets, they could have done a better job. They had Lucas Kennard and Bob first round, for example. Like, Lucas is one of the most competent people I've ever trained with.
Is that they had no idea who they were, or because was it
Lucas
Singapore? ADCC Singapore that did it?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
must have just hit random generate or something. It was just so bad.
Yeah, right.
But anyone who understands grappling, like, yeah, Lucas hasn't competed, hasn't been as regular, so I can understand why you might, not factor him in at all. But if you've trained with him or you have any understanding of his ability, you're not going to put him first round against Bob.
Yeah, against the first seed. Yeah,
And Bob wouldn't be happy with that matchup either, I don't think. You know what I mean? First round, and
Well,
you come in
yeah.
as the number 1 seed. A bit of respect.
when I was looking at it, I was like,
Bob
whoever
I
wins
would
that.
expect so.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
whoever wins.
Oh, Isaac was there. Maybe not.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I was looking, I was like, whoever wins that, Bob or Lucas, they got like a straightforward path
Easy run to the final.
Yeah, there was like no one. It was just like, and then, but the other side was just like
Killers.
All it was like Isaac, Curtis, all the heavy hitters were in, which was the theme of all the brackets. It was like stacked on heavily on one side and like one guy on the other. It was all over the place.
Bob did get stitched up though in the end all the Kazakh, because of the rule you got to meet your teammates before the final, so you've got to have that matchup in at least the semi. Because there's all those unknown Kazakhs that were good. Bob had to run through all of them. Like, that's how that bracket ended up looking. So that, I can understand the intention of that rule. They don't want to have a Jeremy versus Baby final again, and I'm sure there was other cases that generated that rule, but it does have the flow-on effect of, what Bob just had to do. One side of that bracket is just going to have a lineup of killer Kazakhs no one's heard of that are going to be poor difficult to get through.
That first one, I don't know how that guy made it. He was humongous.
Every time I looked over, poor old Bob's having a decision win against some unknown Kazakh, and I was like, man, he's getting stitched up here today.
But like I said, we're in the final here, final match of the night. Bob Suppo. We went over this in pretty much a lot of detail earlier on in the show. Josh ends up winning by razor close decision and becomes the first ever Subversion heavyweight champion.
So now,
was it a pain?
Now it's like, what do we do with Josh? Well, I can tell you, the wheels are in motion to get someone from overseas. I have some contacts, and they're talking with people.
Mate, I don't even know this, so that's news to me.
So yeah,
I think he needs that. There's nothing.
There's no one else here to challenge him.
And probably the plan is for November next year.
Yeah, okay, so to be honest with you guys, there was a plan. If you look closely near your judges' table, Mark, the top right hand corner, Tito is standing by. We were going to get Tito up on stage to do like a WWE style. I've put you through your paces at ADCC, get a bit of training under my belt, and I'll challenge you. But then we just thought, maybe we let it.
I think they've already done the match 4 or 5 times now.
Small, wasn't it? Was it 7?
Is it 7 times?
Is it 7 times? Didn't you say it was 7, George?
They did 3 matches at Jiu-Jiteros, 2 at ADCC Sydney, 1 ADCC Trials.
So that's 6. So if they fight again, that would have been the 7th. So yeah. Matt DeGroot here handing out the award for biggest biceps in jiu-jitsu. So Matt DeGroot, as good as he is pretty loose, and he can just make stuff up on the spot. I guess that's what we like about him. So he just announced it as the Balgala Physio biceps of the night thing. It was he just adds in little bits here and there.
I was actually impressed that it was so close.
The bicep size?
Yeah, it was only an inch in it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So 17.5 for Bob, 18.5 for Suppo, and we also measured both biceps and divided by 2 to give us an average. That was a good night, boys. Any final thoughts on the show as a whole?
I would really like to see Baby Dave on there again. I think the problem is he keeps breaking everybody. Everybody competes against. That's the reason nobody wants these matches.
Well, we might have some plans for Baby Dave in next year.
Yeah.
What are we doing next year, George?
Well, I'm talking with some people from overseas, and it's just a matter of them agreeing and getting over it, and then we've got matches for people. So.
Well, the idea for next year would be we'll put some more belts on the line.
Yeah, or April first show, I wanted to do light heavyweight and lightweight.
So that'll be, 66?
No, 70 and
70.
94 or something.
So what do you think of a light heavyweight, Declan Moody and someone? Or
yeah.
Don't give too much away.
Oh. I'm just suggesting. He did a good job last time he came in. That'd be a good example.
Yeah, his run at trials was sick as well.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah.
Declan Moody. And then obviously, we can let the cat out of the bag, can't we, with lightweight? We're looking to put someone against... Well, you want to keep that under wraps?
Yeah. Just in case it doesn't.
Okay. Well, he's from what I've chatted to him at least once a week, and he seems to be keen to come all the way over from Wales.
Oh no, that's one of them. Yeah, one of them. Yeah, Ash is. Yeah, he's going to be coming back.
Ash Williams, who beat Jeremy at Equinox. He's another one of those guys that goes out there, puts on a show, has fun.
What weights he want to come over at?
He wants to do lightweight, so I guess
we'll just do 70. 70 is pretty good, isn't it? He says he's
70.
He's a bit less than that, isn't he? Is he 66?
I think.
Reckon he'd be happy with 70?
I'm thinking he's about 72.
Okay.
Maybe Dave could make 70. Ethan could make 70. There's a couple of options there.
Yeah,
there are.
Just depends.
Yeah.
For him, I probably wouldn't want to fly halfway across the world and get my leg broken. That's probably a deterrent, and that's what would likely happen. Ethan's going to be tricky because I think he's got a lot of MMA fights next year booked in as well. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before. I think, I probably can't say too much.
Yeah, we can't either. Yeah,
but
Ethan's pretty booked next year, so we've got to try and work around that.
Schedule. Plus, he's got to play World of Warcraft and his online games.
But we are trying. Yeah.
I think he's good to watch too.
Yeah.
And there's some of the unique attributes he has. He gets in positions and people are just like wincing. But for him, that's just how his body moves, and it doesn't really impact him too much. Yeah. Plus, he'll take it. He's had all sorts of contests over the years, and he'll take on anyone. And it's so hard to submit. It's amazing watching what he gets, the positions he gets in, and he just escapes and finishes most people.
Did we talk about that last time with that Rod Costa match in the MMA? That was great to watch.
It was one of the best MMA fights I've seen in a long time. Both, except we should try and get Rod Costa over at some point if it's feasible.
Don't think he's a fan of me.
That's all right.
What'd you do?
When we did the ADCC trials and he didn't have the passport, and we said, it's the rules, mate.
That's the rules.
You got to have the passport. And
rules are rules. So it's the only thing that separates us from animals.
But you know what it's like. Jiu-jitsu,
But I'd love to get him over. But
he's a really talented competitor. Maybe I'm sure there's plenty of matchups for him if he wanted to get over if it was worthwhile. But let's look after the.
How did he go at the trials?
Didn't turn up.
Didn't even turn up.
I thought he was going to be one of the favourites, but no, I kept my eye out. I didn't see him there that day.
No word of what happened.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, right.
I thought he would have been right up there in that division. Obviously, Ethan had a stellar run the whole way through. That fella in the final was awesome as well. That's another division. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in Thailand. Poor David Stolescu's lost to Jeremy, then lost to Ethan. He's only ever lost to his teammates at trials.
So do you think he'll take out the next one?
It'll take something special to beat him, in my opinion. He's just gone back to America to spend another couple of months over there.
Is he doing the trials there as well?
Oh yeah, he would be doing the second.
Because that's the West Coast
citizen, isn't he?
That'd be the West Coast trials.
I think he's got a Canadian passport in addition to his Australian.
Yeah.
But he's just, he's just getting better and better and better, and just a good example. If you get someone young and teach them quality jiu-jitsu from the get-go, that's what can happen.
And how old's he? 19? 20?
I know that he's just got his license, so just be careful on the road when he's back. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait to get. I'm booking all my flights to get over there next week.
Are you going over?
No.
You're not going to go over?
Well, I'll have a chat and just think about it. But I've got a fair bit coming on with work and uni this year, so I don't think I'll have time.
Well, yeah. What have you got this in 2024? What's coming up for you, Mark? Are you looking to compete more? Or are you looking to focus more on work, or what are you?
Well, very briefly. After that Masters hit out in Singapore, I think I'll leave it to George or Curtis, whoever wants to try and double gold at the next one. I know Curtis has expressed an interest, and so has George, so I'll enjoy watching that. I may have one more crack at Thailand. I think my time in the sun's over. I'm just as happy to just drop in and help out at different gyms, and if I have to teach, I'll teach. But I'm more than happy to just turn up and roll. Yeah. Same with happy to help you guys on the show. And when I come through, I got exposed to some suboptimal officiating and some suboptimal refereeing,
So you're
and
trying
I'm just trying to make
up
sure
for that, make sure no one else experiences that. And
yeah, like jiu-jitsu's always had issues with that, bias and some dodgy operators within the community. So where we can stamp that out and make sure that things are as fair and equitable for everyone, and so that people turn up to a tournament and have a good experience. Like that's something I've spoken to George about at length. But even like some of the people I work with, they'll talk about, their husband's just started jiu-jitsu, or their kids are just started and they've gone to a local tournament and they can't believe how disorganised it is and what it costs and the entry fees, and all they've got is negatives to talk about. So it'd be really good to change that.
Yeah, well,
and make sure it's a positive experience.
I think George is trying to change that too, aren't you? Like with the Jiu-Jitero's coming up.
Jiu-Jitero's 27th of January. Free spectators. Don't charge the parents. Free coaches. The registrations are pretty fair.
Reasonable. We did that at Subversion Open too, didn't we? We did free spectators. I remember someone turned up I think it was Xavier actually from Alpha turned up and went, "You guys didn't charge for these people to get in?" I was like, "No." He went, "Wow." And they're just used to being slugged fees, $25 to come and watch. And
Jiu-Jitero's, we do free open weights as well, so you can jump in open weight for free as well. So
that's if you've signed up for a division first.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Right.
So
And then you've got ADCC coming up as well.
Yeah, we got a couple. We got ADCC. It will be April the 15th, I think it is. That'll just be the Sydney Open, and then July 13th, I think it is the Oceania Open, and that's going to be on UFC Fight Pass.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be you'll be doing the stream for that.
Sweet.
We hooking up with and we got to have a commentator. So I think I've already mentioned to Sonny Brown. I was like, "Do you want to do some commentating?" And we'll just be streaming all the pros, all the pro matches.
Yeah, just one mat. I think you were saying.
Yeah, just one mat, all the pros, and
Very good day. Yeah,
should be good.
Yeah, all right, boys.
What's MMM Inc?
MM Inc. Not MMM Inc. Triple M Inc. I've had so many people like. Have you heard of the brand Mimco? The girls like. So like when I met Art of Jiu-Jitsu and when I met Jacinta Austin, I'm like, I've been chatting to you on. They're like, Mimco. I'm like, no, not Mimco. So I need to think about fixing that up. But anyway,
I think I prefer Jacinta's version. We'll just call it Mimco.
Yeah, Mimco. Anyway, anything else we've missed, boys, that we should touch on, or?
Oh, we probably should have touched on Reece Allen's run at ADCC trials in Singapore. That was super impressive.
I messaged him and said, I want to get you against this guy in April, and he was like, "I should be able to make it."
I think you told me, and I've forgotten who. But he was part of Team New South Wales. Yeah. He's undefeated on Subversion. I think he's had 4 wins.
Yeah, but he was
4 appearances, 4 wins, 50% sub rate.
He was awesome over there. I reckon if he slightly tweaked his strategy in that final against Kenter, he may well get the result.
Because he's moved. He's not at GE anymore. He's over in Perth. Or he's with Drake.
I think he's going back to Perth, yeah.
Because I think he's been training with Jake O'Driscoll at Perth. And, he's wearing the Drake, like the Ash Williams attire.
Yeah, because he went over there and spent the whole summer in Wales. And apparently the culture is just amazing there. Like, and they've got like accommodation where a bunch of them all live there, and Flo Kraus was telling me about it. How just everyone just loves it there.
To try and foster that.
Yeah, and obviously Reece just loves it as well. So, and just the way he came through. He did my ADCC comp like just post COVID at Kings. Remember at Kings MMA? We just did that in-house one. Yeah. And he turned up and he was like super fresh into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because he's judo. He's judo black belt. But
yeah, Kel was just like, he's just started doing nogi now, and I think he lost his first match, but he did a couple of nice really good judo throws. But to go from that and to runner up in trials in like 3 years, it's like whoa.
I remember he registered for the qualifiers at one stage for Subversion and like made it through that.
Yeah.
I think that was his first match on Subversion, was a qualifiers final.
Was that? Yeah, and then he had one with Cash.
Yeah, I think once you saw him at the qualifiers, you're like, we need to invite him.
Yeah. He had a very good run at trials, eh?
Yeah.
And then there was no tickets for the females at this event.
Yeah.
But Adele still did really well.
Yep.
Shakira got silver over there as well. So it's difficult without tickets being there to really know who entered and what that will look like at the next one.
Tickets for them will be in May, though?
The next event in Thailand will have tickets. So I think you'll see deeper divisions, particularly being in Thailand, like George said, it's easy to get into. So you're going to have a flood of entries across all divisions. I think it will be fairly hotly contested trials.
So it was harder to get into Singapore, was it?
Or harder than Thailand.
Yeah, okay.
Thailand will let anyone in if you've got a bit of money.
Yeah. Right. Anything else that we haven't spoken about, boys?
Just the dates maybe. April 6th.
April 6th. Oh, this is first Subversion next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
April 6th, we are locked in. July 20, we are locked in. And November 23, we are locked in.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll try and do the Subversion Open just before
maybe
the November show.
Yeah, we might need to give ourselves a bit more time. Maybe like September.
We'll work that out offline.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, possibly. All right, boys. Well, thanks for coming down. You've absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
For Matt, George, our co-host, Mark Grayson, until next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.